Well, welcome to Amityville Axe versus the world. I'm Amityville Axe, and this is Kotobuki Jake.
And I thought we were done with this, but, you know, Amityville being what it is, it never dies.
Well, we're going to cover everything Amityville from here on out. I killed that little ginger dead man because he was too much on the copyright issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, the little blue guy is still alive. But, I think we need a good one-man show, or one-act show. So, if you'll excuse me, I might have to do something with you a little bit later.
No, thank you. Give that one the axe.
He likes movies, we like movies. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to SeptumSin versus the world, the show. Episode 1, Season 1, or the other way around.
Ah, you fool! You fell victim to one of the classic blunders.
And, we are finally back officially. We've had a couple of sputters, but we're going to be back for a weekly show. And we're going to do it in just a once-a-week show format. Mm-hmm. We'll have a few chaotic things pop up. Amityville... not Amityville. Anhedenia
That's
Project.
Usually pretty chaotic.
Anhedenia Project. We got another show we're working on called Tabletop Horror, which once we reach 12 episodes of that, I will start airing that. That'll probably go a season by season, 12 season run with a break in between. Not season, sorry, episode run. We got enough for almost 12 seasons, but...
Yes, each season is 3 episodes long.
Well, we have enough set up to where it could be up to that, probably. But we're hoping to get a full run of that done, which is going to be pretty cool. We do have, 6 episodes recorded, though?
Sounds about right.
So we're halfway.
Halfway?
We're...
No.
And we're going to do pretty fun... We're going to do some pretty fun stuff on this show. We've got a lot lined up. This is going to be our first section where we just kind of talk and, talk about what's coming up.
Right! This calls for immediate discussion.
We've had a couple of things going on. Inside Movies Galore. Next week for Inside Movies Galore is going to be Saint something.
Saint something. It is kind of a weird title, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a Saint something one. It's Dave's pick. We are deep into the what scares us thing. Jake covered. You should know it.
You should know it too.
Well, I watched it.
We'll be looking at Darren Aronofsky's Black Swan to start off the Halloween month. There are those who would debate whether it's a horror film, but I think it's a horror film.
So Monday, we're going to talk about what was on Inside Movies Galore a little bit for that, but I'll talk about it again next time, and we'll see. But Schlockaholics came back. We're filming before they came back officially, but actually, no, we're still going to be airing before it comes back. So we're supposed to come back also, so everybody's coming back. And we're going to be coming up again this Saturday, so tomorrow, because this is airing every Friday. And keep in mind, for new stuff, we're going to be recording Mondays, I'm editing on Wednesdays, and it's going to be up Fridays. The movie we're going to do these things called Matrosia shorts. We were planning on doing it, then we had to take a hiatus, but we're off hiatus. And we're coming back. There's going to be Monday nights. There's going to be some schlock talk going on. We're working towards moving that to Wednesday nights so that I can join for more than just 30 minutes like I've been doing. But we'll see how it goes from there. But that's all the basic things about what's going on this week. I mean, I tried in vain to film the monster scenes for Amityville webcam, and we're adding a new cast member, John Ward, to the list, and he's got a lot of B-movie, or I should say, low-budget films credits. And so I'm really glad to have him part of the cast. And we just, one of us did not have their mask. I'm not going to say who.
How dare you! How dare you!
But we did do a cold read. And we're hoping to get together again soon to finish those off. After that, it's just 2 scenes with Mo and a few odds and ends. But as soon as I get those 2 scenes with Mo and those monster scenes done, then we're in post-production. Well.
Very cool.
So, what's been going on with you this week?
Work, living the dream.
Didn't you have like some sort of punk rock for plants thing this past weekend?
No, that's coming up.
Oh, well, tell people about it. They might see it.
Well, RVA Homegrown Natives, the native plant nursery I'm affiliated with, has we have some friends in the community, and together, several of these groups are putting together a show. It's like a market / show.
But can the market bear your show?
It's at a local brewery, and I'm drawing a blank on the name of the brewery. But we have a small area of Richmond that is just packed full of breweries, meaderies, and other such places. But we'll be getting together for a fair where there will be sales, plant sales and such. And then there will also be live bands, and there'll be karaoke. So it's going to be a fun thing. That's coming up in a couple weeks. I've also got another big plant sale coming up the week after, and the week before I'm doing a class on plants at a local nursery. So it's going to be some really busy, kind of fun, oddball stuff. It's going to be, like I said, pretty busy. I'm a little drained today because work, and it's been a long day. But,
But will there be punch or pie at any of these events?
Oh, man, if only. No punch and pie is worth this.
Yeah, I think that sounds good. You should, you should take some of these classes or things that you do, get somebody to film them, and then upload them to your channel.
I do have a channel.
Yeah,
you can check it out. Go to Bookie Jake on Yahoo, on YouTube. And there's like six videos on there.
If you videotape some of these events for the plants or put some videotapes up, you could advertise. I mean,
well, I thought you weren't supposed to advertise on YouTube.
Well, technically, since I've had plenty of YouTube channels that are just people and they're pocketing their stuff. Look at Ron's channel.
True.
That's definitely a business. So and besides, you're spreading plant knowledge.
Yes, spreading the good word. Yes.
So I guess this is also the part where we talk about what we've watched over the week. We're limiting it to only up to 2. Less or more less is fine, more is not, because we time. So me and Kim, we watched The Meg 2, The Trench, this weekend. Nice 2023 and a Versus Award contender potentially. It does have an original song, and it's called The Trench, I believe, and I did put that on my list, so now I have 3 original songs up for the Versus Awards. So, hey, that's something.
How's that one compared to the first?
What?
The Meg?
It's cheesier, It's not as good, but it's a lot more over the top. I mean, it starts with a scene that was copied by Mark Polonia, it looks like, where a Tyrannosaurus Rex is taken out on land by a Meg.
Because
it can be.
Because it can be. It would have made a whole lot more sense to have a Meg tussling with a Spinosaurus, but, whatever.
So, but I do think that it's a...
Or, what are those, Mosasaur?
Yeah, and it was fun. It was, mindless action.
Yeah.
I mean, don't expect a lot. I mean, it's Jason Statham movie. I still find it funny that he was talking about, like, how he wouldn't play a superhero in a film because superhero movies are lowbrow or something like that. He was looking down on him like, yeah, says the guy who did Crank, The Meg 2.
Crank was better than I remembered.
So, things like that. But, yeah. What about you? What do you watch this week?
Well, I've seen a few things here and there. I don't get to watch a lot nowadays. But one thing I will go ahead and just cover, this was technically the last couple of weeks, but I figure it's worth a mention on our reboot, is the Netflix's live-action version of One Piece, which I watched over the span of about a week. Actually watched it with someone who wouldn't know the anime if it, jumped up and bit her. And she quite enjoyed it. I quite enjoyed it. I have read a very large portion of the manga. I just finished the Dressrosa, or actually I'm finishing the Dressrosa story arc. So, and with the anime, I got through the Arlong arc. So I've got a lot more to get caught up on, certainly, but I'm well past the point covered in this show.
Yeah.
And the show does a respectable attempt at turning this... when they announced live-action One Piece, I was like, the hell?
It's like, well, you got... they definitely ain't getting to the end of the story.
No. But it was... and I was one of the people who actually was like, why so much hate for the Bebop live action? It was not great, but it was not the steaming pile that everyone said it was. And Netflix really bitched out on that one, dropping it less than a week after it was released. The original Cowboy Bebop was the stinker on Arrival too, and then it became a classic. You never know what'll happen, so it's like trying to predict whether something is worth keeping within a week of its release is stupid. Just saying.
Yeah. Gentlemen, Ciccolini here may talk like an idiot and look like an idiot, but don't let that fool you. He really is an idiot.
But anyway, that said, I will give that Bebop had some serious issues. One Piece had issues, but they were much more minor, in my opinion. I think they did a really good job with most of the characterizations. Some of them were spot on.
Usopp needed a longer nose.
Sanji doesn't have the curly brows, so now Zoro can't call him curly brows. And so it's like... but we did hear him call Zoro Mosshead for the first time.
And I thought that the casting for Zoro was really good.
Yeah.
I thought the casting for Sanji was pretty good, too.
Apparently, Ichiro Oda was asked at one point if each of these were a real-life nationality, what would they be? He said Luffy was going to be Brazilian, Nami was Swedish, Zoro is Japanese, Sanji is French, of course, and... Usopp, I would think he said South African. I can't remember.
Yeah,
and I think he pretty much the casting for the for the series followed that.
If you think about it, you look at the character model. He kind of does look, African, as far as like the hair and all that stuff. Maybe not the nose, but
right.
They didn't do the nose.
Right.
That's the worst part. Actually, the one that a lot of people are hit or miss on is the characterization of Luffy in the show. I've had some people who are livid, saying that he doesn't yell enough, he's not as energetic enough, he's not stupid enough.
Oh, he's plenty energetic.
And I disagree. I hate Luffy as a character in the anime. He annoys me like no other. He's loud, he's an idiot, and he's extremely reckless. This Luffy is an idiot, but he's nowhere near as reckless, and he's not as loud.
Yeah.
He's
not even as gluttonous.
I almost like him. That's saying something.
This Luffy is extremely likable. I actually really liked the character. I think that I fully agree with the idea that they toned down his excesses from the show, from the series. He's not as gluttonous. He definitely does think a little bit more. He listens a little bit more to other people. He's a little less pig-headed. Now, a lot of these things were things that became more apparent with time with Luffy in the series, and were maybe not as apparent at first. So maybe that's the direction they're going. But as a starting thing, he is much more likable, I think. If there were any of them I had a little bit of issue with, it might have been Nami. She was a little flat. But once we got to her major story arc, that changed a little bit. And
she did a good job when it got to that point where she was asking them for, for help finally.
Right. And then as far as my biggest concern with the series, I will admit, a couple other pluses. I really like the way they did Buggy in this one. Buggy was a little different, but I really liked his portrayal. The actor had fun with the role, clearly. And the CG wasn't as weird and wonky as you would expect. Yeah. And that goes for most of the CG.
They spent a ton on this series, though.
Yeah. And the other thing is that I want to mention is good use of music to a degree. They overplayed the score in several scenes. But I did like certain uses of the original anime theme in the score. The biggest issue I had with the series is that I kind of like the cheesiness. It did add to the sort of unreal vibe of the series. But even so, cheesy or not, the fishmen were just plain ugly. I did not like the look of the fishmen. Arlong kind of had an imposing look. He wasn't as goofy looking as the others, but most of them were just goofy looking. And Arlong just... I expected more. I expected something more imposing. So I don't know. The guy who plays him, though, plays him well. I like that low, growly voice he has. So, I look forward to the second installment where we're probably going to meet Robin, Crocodile, and a few other big names there.
Yeah, they've debated whether they can do Chopper, but because Chopper it will require a lot of work.
A lot of
but
CG.
He's the next. He would be the next crew member. So, and my least favorite arc of the series, the Drum Island one, which was, by the way, the first one I ever watched of One Piece.
Which they may find a way to introduce him in a quicker, because that was another thing. What they did in 8 episodes covered what
60 maybe not 60, but
probably 40-ish episodes of the anime. I think probably about 8 or 9 volumes of the manga.
They did a good job with it.
They did a pretty good job cutting things out, although I missed Django. Django was so much fun, and they cut him out completely.
I did like them. The guy with the claws for him. They did very good with him.
Well, that was they completely cut his crew out.
Yeah, they did.
Except for 2 that infiltrated the household the way he did. Which was a clever way to save money.
Yeah.
But like I said, it meant we didn't get Django. And we got one reference in this season to Zoro's poor sense of direction. Mm-hmm. Hopefully we'll see more of that in the future. But, like I said, a few minor quibbles aside, they could have done a whole lot worse, and not a bad start. So, people are saying they finally broke the curse of live-action anime, which there is sort of a curse.
Live-action anime that are better.
Yeah.
And there have been live-action anime that do... I mean, shoot, the Kenshin one, I've heard is amazing.
I still haven't seen
the trilogy.
that, but,
I've heard that's really good.
You know what I found out just a few days ago? Came out last year and could have been up for the Versus Awards, but we didn't even know about it. Or I didn't know about it. I don't know if you did. There was a live-action Whisper of the Heart.
No, I've heard about it.
That now it's available here on DVD.
Yeah, on Blu-ray even, yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't know about it in time for the Versus Awards.
I've got it on my wish list, but I was not willing to pay what they wanted for it. But with that being said, I guess we're ready to start this first episode off. So, away we go.
Yeah.
We're back again. And this time we are doing our mini reviews. So, I have done reviews on the channel before. And they've been separate things. And they've been in-depth things. And they've not been in-depth. And they've been shorts. And they've been all over the place. But here is where we're going to be doing most of our reviews from here on out. But I have been the only one doing reviews. So instead of just me doing reviews, I'm going to do one, and then Jake's going to do one. We're going to pick a different movie each week. It could be something new, like I'm going to do this in a pickup at the same time in a way, because I've never shown this one off. And I can just keep going with that. Jake can do his thing with one of his. We can just keep throwing things forward. Just stuff that we might recommend. I'll probably only review stuff that I think is really bad or something I find a reason to review in there. So, I'll start us off. So this is Amityville Apocalypse, the new film from Retrosploitation. It has something special in it by the fact that both me and Jake are in it. I actually directed 2. And the Amityville Axe is in it as well. So, we've got some fun stuff in it. So I can't really not talk about this. So the plot is pretty simple. It's a bunch of Amityville shorts thrown together. The original project was actually, if you really want to see a more in-depth review of it, I go through every single short. Go to the Anhedenia project with Amityville Apocalypse, because it has a short by Evan Jacobs in it, and that'll go there. But I'm just going to do a quick overview of these. The original thing was supposed to be Amityville Nail in the Coffin, and so they asked for a bunch of submissions from people, and then hardly anybody submitted, and then people that submitted wouldn't sign the agreements, and it was just one thing after the other. So I ended up getting 2 shorts in there because of that. And if I thought about it, I would have submitted a movie trailer as well, just because it would be hilarious to have that in there, and we needed more trailers. We really did. So, plot summary. I'm just going to quickly go through these.
Just get to the point.
Amityville Toxic. I'm just going to go by the way they've got up here. It's not the order they are in the movie. You can go to the other review for that. Amityville Toxic. Somebody's sitting on a toilet. They fart. They light the fart. It blows up as a nuclear reaction. Amityville Living Dead. It is just a bunch of zombies kind of walking across a screen, going dur 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 a lot. There's Amityville Clerk, where they do the Clerk's joke about the movie thing with Randall and so on. Have you watched this yet?
No.
Okay. But it goes on a little bit longer than I would like. But still somewhat funny. Amityville Spirit Box, which is a film directed by Mark Chindemi, but starring Kyle Rappaport, who is a friend of the channel. And he does a fairly good job. It's actually somewhat creepy. One of the few creepy ones here. Amityville Die Another Day, which is one of the few trailers in here, and it's kind of meh. Amityville Estate Sale.
That sounds familiar.
Which is one of the two that I directed about a guy who does therapy and does telehealth, and his people have gone to this estate sale and bought these cursed items. And that's the whole of it for that one. Amityville Lighter, which is a really good one about this guy who buys these cursed items for Amityville, hoping they'll change his life. He gets this lighter, but the lighter seems to bring much more harm than good to him, as you would expect from a cursed item.
Or indeed a lighter.
Amityville Witch Project, which is the Blair Witch Project near Amityville. It's fairly well done, but gosh, the sound. The monster, okay, everything is okay, but then the monster makes that screeching sound, but they upped it like 5 times.
Ugh.
And so it hurts your ears really badly. So don't wear headphones and listen and watch that. Otherwise, it was pretty good. Amityville House Cat, one of my favorites, where this guy gets a cat and then they just film the cat doing cat things, but add like blood and all this stuff to it. And it's really funny, actually. I really like that
Nice.
one. Amityville Outing, which is Evan Jacobs' thing, where he films himself walking down the street at night, and then something creepy happens to him. Amityville Dead End, which is at the dead end of it, where you've got a dog cycling through the original post for Nail in the Coffin and saying, maybe I should post in this. Amityville Escorts. There's 2 parts to this. The first is a commercial for these Amityville escorts, which are succubuses that come to your house and drain you of your life. And the other is a guy ordering a succubus to come to his house. Amityville Axe, which is, well, you got to see him at the beginning here, talking about taking over the show, but I figured Jake could fight the axe if he needs to and take him out. But it is essentially about this axe who was used to kill the people at Amityville, and he comes back as a vengeful spirit and starts killing people. Then Amityville Amulet, which looks like a Indiana Jones style beginning, and then just kind of ends abruptly, because my guess is that it was because it was something that the guy who directed it cut from one of his original films and just threw that in there. It really sounded like it would have been much better than it was. You know, you could have actually done something with that, and I think it would have been a better thing. Amityville Darkness, which is probably the best by that director on here. Essentially, it's about this guy in the dark with these shadows, creepy shadows going around. It was actually legit creepy. I liked it. Amityville Deathlon is another zombie one, but this one's a little bit more full and realized, where these zombies are chasing them. It's a simple zombie flick thing, and that's all there is. Amityville Bloody Mary, Ghost Hunters, same director. It was a cut from an episode of his ghost hunting show, and then it was actually pretty good. But then they go down into it, and then they end it with a, and it was just like a little blood splat, and then that's it. Not scary at all. It's built up to be scary, and then abrupt end. Yeah. And then the next one, Amityville Godfather. Again, one that I felt like could have been elaborated on into a bigger film. The guy who played the Godfather in it was really good. I think it's, worth that. And then Amityville Delirium. That was another short one. I don't remember it.
Right.
Sorry. But acting wise, all over the place. Acting quality was, like I say, all over the place. Is what you're going to get for these types of things. People I would think that were fun to watch in this. Kyle was pretty good in this particular one. The guy who played the Godfather, Amityville Godfather, he was really good at that. He played a really good mafia guy. Some of the acting in the Blair Witch one was pretty good. I really liked the Amityville Lighter, though I'm not sure about the acting. The writing, again, Amityville Spirit Box, very well done, very creepy. Amityville Darkness, very creepy. Amityville Lighter was one of my favorites, and a lot of people like Amityville Witch Project, which is also pretty good on there. Production value, again, all over the place. This is a freaking, anthology film. But some of it was pretty good. Like I said, other than the sound, Amityville Witch Project was fairly good. Amityville Clerk really did a good job of the setting. It looked like Clerks and a good movie store setting. The one with the zombies had some good zombie makeup. I liked the effects for Darkness because it was simple. It did its job. I'm not going to rank my own because that's wrong to do, so I'm just going to say you judge.
Yes, and you probably will judge.
And music, there's not much to it. I mean, I know in Amityville Acts, I put in that background theme from from the Anhedenia project, and but I can't think of anything else there. So I guess the Anhedenia project theme has its first ever film debut. That's pretty much it. So if you like an anthology, it's okay. Middle of the road. If you want to see something I directed, see something that he was in, you could probably see some better stuff. But I actually did like it better than the other one that he's in, which was it Faces of the Dead or something of the Dead?
I think it was
Faces of Death?
I think it was something like that. Face of Evil or something.
But which was also another anthology film, and the one he was in was pretty good, which Dane had directed. But I think this one, I like this one better quality-wise than that one. And that one got distributed by Walmart. So,
which amuses me.
Finally, we give a 1 to 10 rating on this. So my rating for Amityville Apocalypse is 6.5 out of 10. So what do you say? This is our first episode. For 0.5s, do we round up or do we round down?
I would say probably round up.
You know what? You got spunk.
Well,
I hate spunk.
All right, so this gets a 7 out of 10 for the thing.
That's his overall package.
Yeah, so,
Now here's a question for you. This is going to fall on this year, right?
Yes.
So, are you intending to treat it as one item for Versus Awards?
Yes, because it is one item.
Is it really?
It is, because then every anthology film will be 1.5 billion short films. Nah, that's not going to
No, that's not how most anthology... That was a lot more films than most anthology films will have.
But they're much shorter.
Yeah. But, I mean, some anthologies tie them all together, and some of them, they're just like splatters on the wall.
Like I say, to me, an anthology film is presented as an anthology film. Okay. If there is a separate release of the short film, I'd be willing to accept that, because there have been a couple of occasions where that has happened.
Okay.
But this case, it can't happen because legally none of the people who did it could do it.
Right.
Except for the 2 that Colazzo did because they were part of something else. But that was done beforehand.
Okay.
But that is mine. So what did you bring us today, Drew?
Good times. Well, something kind of not at all similar. Of course, we just finished our Versus Awards. And we also just did a Movies Galore discussion featuring the work of Darren Aronofsky. So I thought I would bring Aronofsky's newest film, which I am honestly cannot recall if I've presented it on this channel. I don't think I have. So this may be technically a pickup presentation as well. Hey, Rosie. But Darren Aronofsky's film The Whale, starring Brendan Fraser in a now Oscar and Versus Award-winning role.
Yeah.
Also featuring Oscar-winning hair and makeup. Our Versus Awards ended up, this one just lost to
Black Panther. I believe.
Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which does have excellent hair and makeup. And we also nominated this for director. Nothing else, for the simple fact of the matter that this one refused to watch it as part of the nominations process. And one other member who did watch it and loved it didn't bother to nominate in most of the categories that it could have been nominated for. So it scored 3 nominations solely on my effort. It would have done better had someone else been helping, but I just had other favorites in most of those categories. Hong Chau, who plays his very dear friend and a nurse who helps take care of his character, and who also had a fun co-starring role in The Menu, would have been a strong contender for supporting actress. The music in this is phenomenal, as is typical of Aronofsky films. And there's a lot about it. The writing is phenomenal. The production overall. And this young man who plays a missionary, I don't remember the actor's name. Let me see here. Ty Simpkins. He also had Sadie Sink as the daughter of Brendan Fraser's character, and Samantha Morton is his ex-wife. And Morton was actually a contender for Best Bit Player or Cameo. She had one big scene, which basically would qualify her as a bit player, I think. The acting overall is phenomenal in this, but Fraser went above and beyond. There was a lot of flack that this film took from people who thought that it was insensitive, that that Brendan Fraser was just dressing up in a fat suit and all that stuff, and they were especially incensed the film got an Oscar for the fat suit. But I've got to say, Brendan Fraser did not just act like he was, he wasn't just playing fat. He embodied this character.
And he had been, he wasn't quite that bad, but he had been very overweight prior.
Yeah.
So he's lived it himself.
And people are saying, like, there might be a debate to be had about whether we needed a movie with a character who is this large. But the people are saying, well, just get someone who's already... How many actors do you know that are that big? It's like, if they went that far with the character, they had to do the fat suit. So... and yes, Fraser did go through a larger spell. Definitely not Brendan Fraser circa 1990s, but
Oh, yeah, obviously.
And that may be what a lot of people are thinking. But Darren Aronofsky likes to make films about very, very, very flawed individuals who are dealing with issues. In this case, morbid obesity, issues with self-esteem, issues of severe heart issues. Yeah. He has a lot of issues. And, of course, the plot of the film...
And issues of the heart as well.
Yes. The plot of the film revolves around him realizing he doesn't have much longer to live, and he wants to reconnect with his daughter, who hates him, and he ends up kind of bribing her to spend time with him, which she does. And of course, the film ultimately honestly turned out, I think, to be one of the more hopeful Aronofsky films, which is saying something. But I read something last night that he has straight up declared that the main character in all his films dies by the end. So, however ambiguous the ending, and this one had an ambiguous ending.
Not that ambiguous.
It wasn't super ambiguous, but it was weirdly hopeful given what you knew was actually happening. But yeah, like I was reading that in reference actually to Black Swan, where the ending is much more ambiguous. But Aaron Aronofsky apparently likes to kill people off at the end. That's apparently his thing. But anyway, it is not a film to watch if you're in a low place.
Oh, God, yeah.
And you probably want to have something light and frothy afterwards.
Yeah, Kim has been wanting to watch it, but it's really hard to find a good time because she has to be in the right place to watch this.
And it is, but it really is a very, I thought it was a very touching film. It was very beautifully made. And I was glad that it won at least one Versus Award. And yeah.
So, what would you rating out of 10 be for this film? 1.
No. I would probably give it a 9.
Oh,
Aronofsky's films are excellent. This is probably one of the better ones, I think. I might be. Honestly, I'd probably say more of an 8.5. But again, we said we'd round up.
Yeah.
I still probably have Requiem for a Dream as my top one that he ever did. But I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Darren Aronofsky is a master of making films that you watch them and you're like, damn, that is a good movie, and I'm glad I watched it, and I don't know that I want to watch it again.
So, where can you get a copy of The Whale?
Well, I ordered this off of Amazon. I mean, it's not a hard one to get. Lionsgate was the distributor.
Don't even have to board a whaling ship.
Yeah. This was Lionsgate was the distributor. They're still usually pretty good about making physical copies available. This one is a Blu-ray and digital, which actually is the same thing as my Black Swan copy, which kind of pissed me off because I thought that was going to have a DVD. Actually, this one being Blu-ray only made it difficult for me to find time to watch it. I ended up I finally found time that I was like, okay, now is my time. But be aware, the film does have difficult content. Well, we already said before, you kind of got to be in the right place.
That kind of goes with the territory for Aronofsky.
Right, this is true.
I guess that's why he couldn't do the Batman films, because he killed Batman at the end.
I know. Now, I've said all along, if they ever made a Batman, because technically Chris Nolan kind of did it with Batman Begins, but that one really, Ra's al Ghul was the primary villain, if you think about it, and Carmine Falcone was also a major villain. But if there was ever a Scarecrow-centric film, Aronofsky would be the person to do a Scarecrow movie. Just watch Black Swan and you'll know.
And I did forget about this, that you can get this through Retrosploitation, which has a store envy site. You can get this, or the DVD, which has a purple cover variation, whichever one you want. But so that is our reviews. So I hope you all enjoyed that.
Yes.
So we got ourselves a 7 and a 9.
Watch this for to learn a great deal about the human condition that you may not have known that you wanted to know, and then watch this to kill your brain afterwards.
All right. Well, we will see you back. And we're back. But this time we're back with the news. The news. So we decided to get one story each. I might take it 2 stories depending on how long it goes. But we each pick a story from the entertainment news in the past week.
On this National Name Your Car Day. National Fried Scallops Day.
Where we each, like I said, pick a story that's come up in the entertainment sector and we talk a little bit about it.
Okay.
So I'm bringing one that comes from, Tom Hanks, who has decided to make sure everybody knows that there is a commercial he did not agree to with his face and voice in it. A dentist office apparently had been using an AI-generated likeness of Tom Hanks to advertise his product on air. Now, what's funny is there's a similar story that came out about Robin Williams' daughter on her take as to what she thought about using AI to replicate Robin Williams' voice, mannerisms, and character on TV. And she said she did not like that it does not honor it, that it's not an honoring of him, that it's actually kind of an insulting thing to him. And this is one of the things that people are striking about, a lot of these actors are striking about, is that right now you can theoretically use an AI of these artists without their permission, and they have no way of stopping that. So that brings up the question, is it fair for this dentist office to use an AI likeness of Tom Hanks to advertise their stuff?
Right.
What do you think?
I mean, especially now without his permission. I mean, it's one thing to use an AI with permission, but just to randomly do it, that's some bullshit.
And that's something I know a lot of writers are worried about as well, as that. Now, they got the concession on the AI, so that's one of the things they got from that end of the strike. But I have a feeling there's going to be something similar with the actors, especially as this gets better and better, because as the AI starts to go, eventually you may not be able to tell the difference between the real and the fake.
Yeah. I know right now there's also a lot of debate in the art community too. Like a lot of outlets are saying, like, don't give us your AI crap, and there's a lot of debate over how legit that stuff is.
That is true. But yeah, AI is definitely on the minds of a lot of actors, a lot of writers, voice actors especially, extras, because a lot of extras, they're paying an extra 1 day's wage, and then they're using AI to basically replicate them, not just in the movie they're filming, but in all other movies.
Yeah.
Which is just a horrible thing.
Yeah.
No, sir, I don't like it.
That's some bullshit.
So, what do you got for us?
Well, I guess it's good that I did decide to double check the deaths, because there was a big one I missed. And this one makes me sad.
I knew there was a big one this past week.
Sir Michael Gambon, the Irish-English actor who took over for the late Richard Harris as Dumbledore in the Harry Potter series, starred in many things, including Gosford Park and quite a few other films over the years. Very talented actor. He was 82. So wow, that's very sad. And I'll go ahead and mention one other thing that's a passing of sorts. This apparently this week marks the very end of Netflix's mail service for DVDs. They have phased it out completely as of this week.
And physical media is disappearing. I mean, Target has already declared that they're going to get rid of all of the in-store physical media for CDs, DVDs, and Blu-rays.
Well, that's stupid.
But they'll still sell them online, from what I've heard. So it's just sadly phasing out. But
That makes me a sad panda.
And all the Dumbledore actors are dead now. Not all of them, because the one that's playing him for the Fantastic Beast isn't out yet.
Okay, but yeah, I hope Jude Law's got
Yeah, I
a
was
few
gonna
years
say, maybe
ahead of him.
let's hope not.
Let's hope.
there.
But actually, that brings up a good, like, you're talking about the AI stuff. You've got you've had Michael Gambon, Richard Harris,
Yep.
Alan Rickman, who of course played Snape so memorably. Richard Griffiths, who played Vernon Dursley. Robbie Coltrane, who played Hagrid. We are losing a lot of the Harry Potter cast, and I could see some ghoul deciding it's time to do another Harry Potter movie with the AI versions.
And there could be a
know?
use for it, like with the Star Wars movie when Carrie Fisher died, because she was contracted to finish the movie.
Yeah.
So it's a way of finishing the movie with them in it.
Right.
But I feel like it should be done on a case-to-case basis, not a sign this under duress and now we have you for all time to use your likeness,
Right.
we want, which is what they want.
Right. Well, it's kind of like, the old belief that if someone takes your picture, they capture your soul, and in a way, it's
Yes, it is
kind
now.
of yeah.
But it could be with some, like, there are some, like, God, what was it? There was one actor that did this, a voice actor, or, well, he basically had his voice recorded. Oh, it was, the guy who played Darth Vader, James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
James Earl Jones actually did take some money, recorded stuff, it's okay, use my voice as you need.
Mm-hmm.
And that I could see,
Yeah.
But give the actors some choice in it, darn it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, with that being said, that's the news. You've been informed. But we'll see you on the next part where we do some pickups. And we're back with some pickups. Because this is part of a larger episode, we're not going to do 5 each, because if we did 5 each, this would be in a super long freaking episode.
It was.
So, it's already going to be ridiculously long, like an hour or so.
Ridiculous.
But we are going to instead just do 2 pickups each. And we're just going to go back and forth, and I'm going to lead us off.
Show me what you got. I want to see what you got. Oh boy.
With Cocaine Shark, a Polonia Brothers movie. This was originally called Narco Shark, but Wild Eye, is it Wild Eye? Yeah, Wild Eye decided, no, we need to capitalize on the cocaine bear craze and make this Cocaine Shark.
Because it was a craze.
So,
It's all anyone talked about.
looking at this, what would you say it's about? Just guess. Just a guess. What would you think it would be about?
A big ass shark who's high on cocaine.
Inconceivable!
All right. That would be what I would think. It'd be what most people would think. But would you believe that it's actually about an underground smuggling ring of shark-based drugs that is being taken, was being investigated by an undercover agent. And what turns out is that these drugs actually control a man-shark hybrid that is killing people.
And if you do drugs, you go to hell before you die. Please.
Now, does that sound like what Cocaine Shark does? It to me, it's almost false advertising.
Checks out.
But there are some things about this that I should say positive about. I mean, it's good to see Kyle in the role. I mean, he dies very quickly, but he's very cool there, and you can check him out. I think he's someplace else in the film. But you do get to see him in the film, and that's fun.
You said in the role for me. I thought you were saying he was the man-shark hybrid.
That'd be kind of cool. Kyle, you need to be a man-shark hybrid in your next film.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
I mean, like a lot of Polonia films, there's a bit of a drag to it. I like this quality-wise better than I did Sharkula, but still, I don't know. I feel like this one had potential, but I feel like it was misleading. I think it should have stuck with the name Narco Shark. It's not Polonia's fault. It's Wild Eye's fault. But they stuck with Narco Shark. I could see that with the plot. So, boo on you, Wild Eye. Name things like they're supposed to be named.
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
I think I would have liked the movie a slight bit better than that.
Yeah.
So what you got for us, the first one?
All right. So, for those of you who have been watching this video from the beginning, you know that I introduced the whale. So I'm going a theme that kind of follows that in a couple of ways. The first one is the film that we covered this week on Inside Movies Galore, another Darren Aronofsky film.
That's the name.
Or, as it's known in America, Black Swan.
Please welcome the wickedly talented one and only Adele Dazim.
It's like, how do you spell that?
Yes. But so the film that won Natalie Portman an Oscar for acting, again, Aronofsky gets really, really high caliber. I mean, he got friggin' Marlon Wayans to act at an Oscar level, so that takes some doing.
Never again.
Probably never again. Portman plays a very determined ballerina who's part of apparently a high-profile company of dancers who work for a skeevy perfectionist who's played by Vincent Cassel.
I love it when a plan comes together.
But watching it, I was like, holy crap, this dude looks like a cross between Mark Zuckerberg and Danny Kaye.
The theater. What's happened to the theater?
Let that sink in for a minute. And then later I was like, oh, and Matthew Lillard. You got to throw him in because some of his expressions were pure Matthew Lillard. This guy, it kind of creeps on his girls, but also gives them really pretty competent direction. He is a perfectionist. He knows what he wants and doesn't care what he has to do to get it. Portman plays the actress tapped to play the main character in a production of Swan Lake. And meanwhile, another a character named Nina, another character named Lily starts appearing, who is very much Nina's foil in a lot of ways, and she is played by Mila Kunis. And it quickly becomes apparent that the film is echoing much of the story of Swan Lake, with Nina being the white swan and Lily being the black swan. And you also have a former lead of the company, played by Winona Ryder, who has a very small role, but she, as well as Lily, are haunting Nina as Nina gets more and more paranoid and out of sorts. And exactly. And the movie really puts you in her headspace. And the first time I saw this, the reason why I chose it for this month is the first time I saw this, I actually saw it in theaters, and I walked out like I was crawling from head to toe. The film creeped me out, but it also it put me in her headspace, and her headspace was not a pleasant place.
That part alone, where she pulls the skin off of
there is body horror in here. Anyone who tells you it's not a horror film, it has full-on body horror in a couple of scenes, and it definitely is psychological horror. The things, and it really gets to the point near the end where you don't know any more than she does what she's actually seeing and experiencing. And the film also very clearly drew inspiration from Perfect Blue. Supposedly it also drew inspiration from a film I have in my collection but I've never seen, an old film called The Red Shoes, which I really need to see. But it's an excellent film. It was worth another watch. I really thought I had this in my collection. I think because I didn't really want to watch it again, and I just waited and waited and waited. And then when I realized, wait, we're covering it and I don't have it, I need to order it.
$15, little man. Put that shit in my hand. If that money doesn't show, then you owe me, oh.
I ended up probably paying more than I would have. And again, I thought I was getting a multi-format that had a DVD on it.
No, it has that. It has that.
It has a digital disc. Yes.
Get used to disappointment.
And unfortunately, the digital does not work on my computer. So, yeah, I was able to get to watch this barely, but it's and it wasn't nearly as hard to watch the second time around, which was good. But But tune in to our Movies Galore discussion where you get to hear much more about this.
So all of these can be purchased on Amazon. All of mine can also be purchased on Wild Eye's shop because all of these are Wild Eye. I had to go ahead and do these together, which is the Jurassic Shark trilogy.
Of course.
So I actually got these mainly because Kyle was involved. And he had wanted me to talk about these, so I went ahead and I ordered them because it's kind of cool when you know a guy that's in a thing and you want to see the person in the thing. So that's what I did. And he's only on the third one. I'm going to talk about the other two as well. So, first Jurassic Shark is not Polonia directed. It's about these art thieves that kind of steal this thing, and it kind of gets sunk to the bottom of this lake. But this megalodon is released by this oil company that's drilling for oil in this freshwater lake. Yeah. So that's pretty much the whole of that. It wasn't that bad. I felt like it was okay as far as things go. I didn't mind it. Shark looked kind of fakish, but it's okay. It's a low budget, so make sure. But it's okay enough. I was fine with it. This one.
And do you expect oil companies to have a shark that looks good?
Yeah, maybe. But as things go, it's okay. If you are a shark obsessed movie, there is a movie I watched a while back called Sharksploitation, a documentary. And it may still be on my top documentaries for the year because I haven't watched 6 yet. But this series was on it. And, it is Sharksploitation. If you like Sharksploitation films, you should watch these. But let me talk about these others because it's all about this art. And the art's still at the bottom of the lake. People still want to try and get the art. But this other one that came up... I think it's like the child of the first one. This is the first Polonia one. And it's just this shark comes up, and I guess it's either on the ocean or in this freshwater lake, ocean, whatever thing. And there was one guy in it that plays this grumpy harbor master. He doesn't last long, but he is best acting in this. I loved it for that. It has some fun to it. It's still got some dragginess. Polonia movies have a dragginess to them, which is seemingly almost all of them. But it still was decent. I think it was fun. It definitely held on to the spirit of the first one. You kind of felt like this was from the same director almost, so I do like that. Then the third one, which has that CGI scene that I was talking about from the Meg 2, except this one is lower budget, and but same basic BS shark attacking something huge on land. So this one's got looking for revengeance because of the killing of its friends. So it's sort of like Jaws vengeance, a lot of similarity to it. But this time we have a group of people who are trying to find this art piece that's been still sunk down at the bottom. It's a painting. I don't know how the heck the painting was still okay being down there for so long, but it is. And So it's these criminals hijacking this. Oh, because they did get it up in this one. These criminals kind of hijack this boat with these this bimbo actor and who does a really good job playing that type of character. I really think she did a great job. And these others, Kyle is one of the henchmen of the thieves, and he does a pretty good job with it. I was impressed with his acting skills in this. He does a pretty good job there. But yeah, they have the scientist, and then them making mutant sharks. And this one jumps the shark, sometimes literally, at times. So out of the three, I'd actually say this one has the best pacing, but this one is the most fun. So take that as you will. Jurassic Shark Trilogy. Cocaine Shark. I'm done.
And now for something completely different.
Totally in the same vibe, though, as Aronofsky, obviously.
Well, this one is actually very different from Aronofsky, too, because this was fun. But I've been looking for opportunities to pick up last year's movies at a low price. And this one was pretty inexpensive on Amazon, so I went ahead and added it to the order when I got Black Swan.
I'd buy that for $1.
And that was a movie that was up for an Oscar for Best Costume Design. And it was up for a Versus Award for Costume Design, and also a well-deserved one for its lead actress, Leslie Manville.
I did vote for
that. Was a fun little film called Miss Harris Goes to Paris, which I'll admit, I don't think I even heard about this before the Oscar nomination. And I was like, oh, geez, what's with that silly title? And this is very much a throwback look cover. Like, this looks like something right out of the 60s. And in a lot of ways it is. But basically, Leslie Manville plays a working class Brit who basically takes it upon herself to visit Paris. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. I think she, and maybe, I don't know if you will remember, like she had, she was a house cleaner who had learned of a particular designer in Paris and really became enamored of this designer and saved up to go buy one of the dresses for herself. That's all she wanted. And she ends up taking this trip to France only to find out this is a little more complicated than she thought. And it's like she's buying actually from the one of those fashion houses, and she had to go through the whole auction, and basically putting up with people's snootiness and bad attitudes, including the woman played by Isabel Huppert, who sort of, I guess you could say, handles crowd control for this. Like, she sort of is the entry point for everything. And she catches her approach, I guess you could say, catches the attention of a young man, Lucas Bravo, who works at the company. And he basically ends up giving her an opportunity to stay there and prove herself, but not really prove herself. Like, she basically gets an opportunity to start designing herself in Paris. And there's also a model who's played, I think it was Alba Baptista. She was a very attractive young lady. And there were a couple other notable big names. And back home in Britain, there, Jason Isaacs, we were talking about the Harry Potter people earlier, Lucius Malfoy in a far more positive role as an older gent who's very much got the hots for her, but they're old friends, and he doesn't really know how to make a move and all that kind of stuff. But it's a real charming, upbeat film. There is drama, but it's not like, it's one of those things where you know it's going to end well by the end of it. You know, there's romances going on. There was a really great jazzy score that I nominated that I don't think ended up getting a proper nomination, but I really loved it. It was by
was really good.
Exactly. I want to remember who it was. Rael Jones does the score, and like I said, excellent score. Yes, the costume design is excellent, and this ended up losing the Versus Award to Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I'm not terribly fussed about that because those are phenomenal costumes too, but it would have been nice for this one to get that nice little bit. And you're right. I think you were not the only one who actually voted for this one. It did have a couple of votes, but it's a charming little movie. I'm glad I found it, and I'm glad I was able to get it cheaply and add it to the collection.
Where'd you get it?
Amazon.
All right.
Well, like I said, I ordered it with Black Swan. You know.
So
yeah.
With that being said, that's our pickups for this time. But it's just saying, on to the next one. Well, I guess to the next.
Oh, I should say this might be the movie you watch after this one.
Yeah, that was very uplifting. So let's hold up our little things here. So now we've gotten our pickups out of the way. On to the next scene of our show.
Indeed.
So we're moving through this show pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think of the show so far? We got some good stuff going.
Oh yeah.
So
quality.
Well, this time we're talking about new releases. Of course, we used to have a show that was just new releases.
Mm-hmm.
We did all of them, but we're not doing all of them. We're taking two each for the new releases for the upcoming week. So it will be Tuesday, October 10th, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
That's that. Yeah, and because it's going to be that Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to take two of those releases that we think of that's pretty cool that we wouldn't mind getting a hold of, and that we want to just talk about. Well, so I'm going to start us off. I'm not going to get either of these two, but they are ones that just strike me as fun. One of them is Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey. It's finally getting an official U.S. release, which is good. I was worried it didn't. I have that beautiful umbrella one, which is really cool. But Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey is about, well, Christopher Robin did the whole thing with the 100-acre wood, but he left. But these animals did not know how to feed themselves, so ended up getting into having cannibalism and stuff like that. And then they wanted revenge for when Christopher Robin returned. And it's a bloody... it's actually a fairly competent movie of its type. Kim did not like it. But I really enjoyed it. If you want an opportunity, I think this is just fun to have. I think you'll enjoy it. If you like those types of just gory slasher movies, you'd like this. With a slight, weird, morbidly humorous edge of having it be Winnie the Pooh characters involved. So what is one of the ones that you're talking about?
Okay, so one that I'm kind of interested in mainly because it's part of a franchise that I really enjoyed what I saw. They are continuing to expand the Love Live franchise, and currently they're working on Love Live Nijigasaki High School Idol Club. Season 2 is getting a Blu-ray release. I'm honestly not sure if this is its first release or not, but it seems quite likely as it's a relatively recent season. And I do believe this is this a Funimation release?
Probably. Because they're the ones that own that property now.
Yeah. Well, I see
Or have license.
Crunchyroll LLC.
Well, it's a
is listed
Crunchyroll
there.
release because there is no Funimation anymore.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist.
That's right.
It's all Crunchyroll now, which is sad because now Right Stuff, actually on the 10th, when this happens, Right Stuff closes its doors permanently, and if you want to get anime from what Right Stuff was, you have to go to the Crunchyroll store, which is nowhere near as good.
That's gonna suck. That just is not make me happy.
Well,
but, yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah.
So the next one I've got up here is they're actually doing a re-release of Dick Shark. But they're doing a Blu-ray release. They're actually up-resing it. They're doing all this. A 2-hour and 24-minute movie about a dick shark. And in the story, girls are the ones who say don't use your teeth. And it just strikes me as hilarious that this is getting the Blu-ray treatment, and and I had to talk about it. So, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and Dick Shark. And of course, this previous release, tomorrow from when we're filming it, the mean one comes out, which was the Grinch one that they did, Somewhere to Blood and Honey. So that's kind of funny also. Yeah. So, there's just one of those weeks for releases, and I'm just like, yeah, Dick Shark.
and that is not by any means the only re-release. We got re-releases of Love, Chanubia, and Other Delusions. We've got Kill Bill Volumes 1 and 2. We got Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. We got Jackie Brown, Pumpkinhead, Megan, all of these getting re-releases. Rosemary's Baby, Videodrome even.
Now, some are getting 4K for the first time. Megan's getting 4K for the first time.
Pumpkinhead is probably a first-time 4K. Videodrome, I think, is one of Criterion's 4K series.
And Videodrome is awesome if you haven't. But
the other one I'm going to present is one that I was concerned about. Of course, now I have seasons 1 and 2. I'm going to end up having duplicates of seasons 1 and 2. But the series Westworld was a HBO series, right?
Yeah.
And when Warner did all their stuff that they decided to do, which was absolutely stupid and made no sense whatsoever, they basically, a lot of people were concerned that Westworld, which I think had just dropped its 3rd season, would not see a full release on physical. And they also canceled the damn show, even though it's one of the most popular shows they had. They went ahead and canceled it, I think, right then and there. So I think it was on season 4. So they are releasing a 4-season complete series.
That'd be cool, though.
That is good. That is good news. I have not seen a single episode, but I've heard so much good things about it.
The movie was actually a fairly good movie as far as sci-fi horror type stuff. It was pretty fun.
Well, I doubt this will be all that similar. Are you talking about the old one, right?
Yeah, the old one.
Yeah, it was a good one.
It was what it's based off of.
Wasn't the original one written by Michael Crichton?
I can't remember.
I think it was.
But yeah, I mean, you've got that, because it's about the androids who basically they run this theme park and then they go berserk. And I don't know if the series follows that same thing, but yeah.
Like I said, it's supposed to be good. I'm going to end up stuck with a couple of duplicates, but I would like to be able to get the whole thing, and getting it in one small package is nicer than having to deal with a whole bunch. So that's pretty cool.
But you know what you really should get?
What's that?
Dick Shark.
Yeah, I can't see myself really rushing out to do that.
Gotta get it while it's still good. The getting's good. Dick Shark should really get a Vinegar Syndrome treatment, or Criterion treatment. That'd be even better. I mean,
I think Vinegar Syndrome makes a lot more sense.
But congratulations to the people who did this film, who getting it the Blu-ray release. That's awesome that you guys got that done.
Right.
All right, well, that is what's coming out on Blu-ray DVD, the highlights.
Yes.
Tell us what you're looking for in the comments below. But we'll catch back with you.
And how many of you are going to be buying Dick Shark for all your friends?
Oh, my friends.
Hello, my friends! Hey! Eddie, you're in too! Pour yourself a drink!
Well, welcome back. And this time, we're doing a video game pickup. So, I'm the only one who really picks up video games. If he picks up any physical video games, of course, he's welcome to bring them here. But I do still collect physical. Not all the time. Because if there's one thing I've kind of moved digital on, it's mostly video games, because most of them are not complete anyway. I only usually collect complete games for the most part on physical. There are exceptions to those rules, but for the most part. So this one is a limited run, Night in the Woods, on Switch. This is the big set. I really like this game. It's a very well-written game. I really think that you would like this. It's more of an adventure game, but with some little elements like you jump, a little bit of platforming, light platforming, some quick time events about this girl, May, who comes back to town from college. And she's from this small town, and the industry's kind of died, and the town's kind of dying, as a lot of small-town America does. And she kind of reconnects with a lot of her friends who never got out. She was supposed to be the one that got out, but then couldn't hack it in the real world. And you get to find more about what happened to her, but also about this mysterious killer that's going on and, killing a lot of people. So this collector's edition, of course, has the physical game, the soundtrack, the Demon Tower soundtrack, Possum Springs official coin, Possum Springs acrylic standee set, which is it's a really cool looking set on that. Sadly, I'm not showing it to you because I'm not opening this right now, but eventually I might. And if I do, I will show it off. Longest Night plain sphere, glow-in-the-dark dream cards, transparent sticker sheets, and May's journal. Now, limited run is hit or miss on some of their sets, but this one is really cool. I'm glad I got it. I do think this is a pretty cool thing. I do look forward to checking this out and opening it up. The Switch can easily handle this. The graphics aren't all that great. I think the Switch is great for indie projects. Really, the Switch is about indie projects and direct Nintendo releases. Don't try to get anything that's released on a higher system for the Switch. It just doesn't look quite as good. But this, definitely, if you haven't gotten a copy, it's worth getting a physical for, because it really is worth preserving, which is what I get most of my physicals for, is preserving the ones that I really like. So if the digital disappears, I will still have a copy of something. And the Switch is probably the best for that. So.
That looks fun.
It is. I really do think you would like this one. And it does have a Steam release, so, but if you had time for it anyway.
That's the thing. I spend enough time on video gaming already.
So, let's move on to the next. Alright, so we are at our Versus Awards section.
Woo!
So Versus Awards 2023 is upon us. We had a recent Versus Awards. It was kind of lame, but it was there.
Thanks again to those who did participate.
So we want to try to do at least one last.
Sorry about the quality of the video. Have you seen it?
Yeah,
it breaks down.
It breaks down. It's just it couldn't handle the live. But for those of you though who would like to really participate, next year we're trying to really pull out all the stops. We want to make next year really good. You can see some of our previous years. We actually did do some work on them. We're going to try and do more skits. We're going to try and get other people to do skits. We're going to try and get some fun stuff together. I want it to be a fun night. I want people to look at this and actually say, this is awesome. Unfortunately, we can't always have what we want. But we're going to try and do something in this spot where we recommend, each of us talk about a 2023 film, short film, long film, animation film, whatever film that we watched, and where we think it might fit in our rating, if at all. The Meg 2 would be a good example. It did get an original song nomination for, I believe, Trench, but I don't think it's going to keep it. But there's only three or four on my nomination list for that. But I thought this time we would both of us talk a little bit about how we do this, because this is the time of year where you're supposed to be watching your 2023 films, but so many people wait till like June when the nominations are in, and they're trying, so what films did I watch in 2023? This is a very bad idea.
Yes.
So I'm going to go over how I do it, and then I'm going to go to Jake, and he can tell you how he does it as a way for you at home to go ahead and get your head start on the season. For me, whenever I watch a 2023 film, I've got a blank form. Anybody who wants one, who's a Facebook friend of mine, can have it. I will gladly send the file. But all the categories, I've written them out. You should be able to know the categories of what's up. And I've got 6 spots in all of them except for Best Picture, which is 12. And every time I watch a film from 2023 or a short film, I go down the list and say, how does it rank here? How does it rank there? How does it rank there? And is it better than this film? Like, I looked at the Meg and I looked at the 12 films I had nominated for Best Picture, and I was like, it ain't better than any of these.
You got me better than that so far.
It ain't better than the 12th one. Because you don't have to say, is it better than the first one? No. If it's not better than the 12th one, the ranked one, then you don't need to, go that far. So it's not that difficult. It just takes like a minute, and you'll do well as it goes, because a film that you watched 6 months ago, you're not going to have it very good in memory. But when you're putting it on there as you go, you can understand the ranking and you know why you ranked it so high. So that's how I do it. I just do it as I go, and by the end I have my ranking. But what about you? How do you do it? Do you wait till the last minute and then try and remember what you watched?
No, I try to go. I am not good. I'm not good about doing it as I go. I am not good at, I watched a movie. I'm going to sit home and do this for the 15 minutes I need to do. I say 15. It's not usually that long, but it depends on the movie.
5 for me.
Well, also, when I write them out, I try to put down all relevant information so that I don't have to look for it later. Some of the categories we are nominating individual people. So that for original song, we have to note this song. So there are things where you need to take a little extra time. Song does take longer to write because there's so much to write. But as far as, and original song is always tricky because when you're watching a movie, probably, even if if you know that it's a musical that's adapted from the stage, you're probably going to be getting 1 or 2 original songs, if that. But if you're watching an original musical like your average Disney film, you can probably bank on most of the songs being original. But when you're watching just a random movie, most of the time you're not going to have any idea while you're watching it. So original song does require some homework. Yeah. One thing that I did this time around that I did late, but I think I'm going to do it much earlier this time because it was a great idea, was I set up a YouTube playlist of the nominees or the contenders.
Yeah.
And as I learned of a contender, I added it to the list. So that can be a really good way. And then when we had our 6 nominees, I made another playlist, and I must have played that thing 10 times because it was a great playlist. But it also 6 songs. It was about 25 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to listen to. It's like listening to your favorite new CD, you know. But anyway, so that's a really good way, I think, to do original song. But as far as just your general, I do try to get in there quickly. Because of my focus on last year's Versus Awards, I haven't fully dived in for this year. I do have a half dozen features that I've seen. I've done some limited listing. I do run 2 lists. The first list is my overall ranked movie list. I also go ahead and do that for short films as well. I sometimes do it for song, but usually because song takes so long, I stop ranking them once I get past about the 6 or whatever. I just add new ones that would be in the top, you know. But then for the main list, of course, I cut it off once I fill a category, they get cut off, you know. So that's kind of how I do that. So some of the lists are much more complete than others. It's just, you know, the way I do it. And usually I try to at least have that basic list. Where does it rank on the movie list? I try to have that done right away, like as soon as I can. And you know, so that's kind of how I do it. If I do get a second viewing within the time, that helps a lot, but that's very rare.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen a lot for me that I get to do a second viewing. And sometimes you'll be disappointed to learn that something you thought was eligible wasn't. For half the year last year, I had Inuo topping my list, but only to find out that Inuo actually came out much earlier in Japan than I originally thought.
Get used to disappointment.
Exactly. Especially when it comes to Japanese movies, because they always come here later. Almost
True.
always, you know.
True that.
But other than that, I think that about covers it. But I definitely do recommend, even if you do it periodically, even if like every 3 or 4 months you sit down and work on it, that's still better than waiting until the very end.
And at the very least, write down what you've watched.
Yes. Yes.
Because that takes very little time.
Yes.
Get a list that you keep with you written on that. Because despite not necessarily going to the list, you at least write down what you've watched so you know what you've watched for 2023.
Yeah.
And that's important because if you don't even do that, you're going to forget a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know, but that's that. So watch this space. If you want to have suggestions as to what to watch for 2023, watch this space. I'm going to try and include a short film every time we talk that's on my list, as well as a feature. If you've watched a short film, I would encourage you to also put that on your list.
I've seen one so far.
So, you know, so next week you can put your short film out with one feature. Because features, we got 1 billion of, but short films are a lot harder, and where to get them at. That's one of the things. I do need to make sure that I get these things taken down so that people can actually watch them. It's, I mean, one of yours was almost impossible to watch by most people. So it would have been harder to get it nominated.
So, last year I made a mistake that I won't make again. I had backed quite a few projects on Kickstarter, 4 of which were released last year during our eligibility window. One of them is a wide release feature documentary that is easy to find and even has since gotten an Amazon release. And they have intentionally made it easy to find. The other 3 were short films. One of them you can buy on Vimeo. That was expecting people to actually pay money for a short film. And the other 2 were not available anywhere. I had been sent links when they became available, when they started hitting the festivals, I was sent a couple of links to one, and I was sent one link to the other. And that one, unfortunately, the link was dead. I couldn't watch it because I couldn't find it.
And you can't nominate it if
the
you
other,
haven't even been able
the
to
other
watch it.
one, I still had the link. The link that they had sent me as a backer was still good. So both of them I was able to watch as a backer.
And Kyle was in that other one too.
I am aware. I am aware of one of those projects is apparently getting a release this year.
Yay!
I'm still waiting for the link from the people. If I get that, you can damn well bet this time I'm going to watch that quickly and get it to other people.
Get to other people so that we can so that it can be watched.
Yes.
Well, I always found it interesting that a lot of times that a lot of people who do short films, they tend to want to be secretive with it and only show it at like awards types situations, or for people that are there. They're not all the time, but there are some of them that are very rarely able to be seen by the public at large. I mean, one of the ones that I was really rooting for the previous year, Bad Seeds, guy didn't get nominated for the Oscar, threw a fit, took it down so nobody could see it. And that's sad because it was a really good film. And because nobody could see it, it didn't get any votes. You know, that's the thing with these awards. You want people to see this film. You should get everybody to see this film. A lot of the ones I'm going to put up are ones that are not very hard to watch. I'm making that a point this time around when I do a short film thing, that it's stuff that's pretty easy to catch hold of. So, with that, let's move on to the next section.
All right.
So we're in the next section.
Yeah.
So this is the placeholder. That is the optional section of this episode. What's going to happen here is, let's say we do a top 10 list. Let's say we do a discussion of things. Let's say we do that list finally for those openers that we keep talking about. This will be where it goes. It might be filmed separately. It may not even be filmed on the day we do the episode. It's something that we would just put together. We put it here. This is going to be that wild card section.
Okay.
So, you know, just so keep an eye on this space. But with that being said, this was a very interesting experience. I hope this episode found you well, and I do think that this is something we can look forward to. It's going to take the majority of our film time, which is why I had to quit stuff for a while, because we had to do a lot of stuff with Amityville webcam and so on. I mean, shoot, next week we're going to be trying to film an episode of what was Tabletop Horror, which
right.
You know,
are we filming an episode next week?
Yes, but don't worry, it's a short.
Okay.
So you know that's the thing. So it's going to be pretty stuffed every time we do this.
Yep.
But with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and stick it to the end for a YouTube shout out. As we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
This is the end of the show. We hope you liked it though. We had our spend of time afraid it's almost time to go. This is the end of the show, but we felt you'd like to know. A bunch of friends right to the end. Our link just down below. This is the end of the show, so help us let you know. 'Cause here's Jake to say the things we thought just couldn't go.
And now we would like to take a moment to thank our friends at the Rebel Gaming Club for our rollicking opening number that has been gracing our videos for some time now. And we want to thank all our friends who come out for various projects and what have you. We have numerous links below, and we very much encourage you to check them out and give other people a visit as well.
Hello, my friend! Hey! Eddie! You're in too! Pour yourself a drink!
This is the end of the show. We've just one more note. I hope you'll stay and have a say, and then we'll let you go. This is the end of the show. The shout-outs next, you know. So let's wrap and then relax. So now, on with the show.
Well, I hope you all stayed to the end for the YouTube shout-out. At the end of each episode, after the credits, we will shout out one YouTube channel per episode. I'm going to start with a lot of the channels that we have in our credits first, because they're ones that are closest to us. We know these people personally, and it's good to to give them the best thing. So season 1 will probably be mostly them. But as we go, we're going to move on out, and I'm going to just grab people I actually watch on YouTube that I subscribe to. But if you have a channel that you want to have shouted out at this section, comment down below. Let me know about your channel. If I like your channel, I'll put it on the list. If Jacob has a channel he wants to shout out, he will also have that. Once we're finished with the ones in the credits, we'll be talking about those. I know you don't watch YouTube as much, if at all. So
more so than before, but yeah.
So, that way we have stuff that's good. But this time, shout out goes out to Movie Buff 1, who has featured quite heavily in this episode. This is Kyle Rappaport's channel. He does a lot of behind-the-scenes works for micro-budget films, a lot of Polonia stuff. You get to see some pretty fun stuff overall for this particular channel. Plus, he does a lot of movie reviews, some fun little skits. And on top of that, he does movie pickups. That's my favorite ones about his channel. Though I do like the behind-the-scenes stuff somewhat. It does give you a lot of cool stuff that you wouldn't get normally. So, you should check out Kyle's channel. If anything, if you're a collector like we are, you'll definitely like that. If you like the micro-budget stuff, especially micro-budget horror, you should definitely check out the channel. He's in a lot of stuff. Go look up his IMDb. He's in a lot of stuff. He got a lot of credits. I got like 2. He's got like more than me, but I got more director credits.
Yeah.
1. Soon to be 2, maybe even 3 in the future. But we're working on it. But I don't know, have you seen Kyle's channel?
I haven't really watched it much, but I think I've seen some.
And you've seen Kyle.
Oh, yeah.
You know Kyle. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's good to support people that you like. Subscribe to his channel. There's a link down below. Matter of fact, every single one of these is going to have a link down below. For now, they're just the regular ones. His channel will always be linked down below. So, check it out. And this time, we are going to see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You know what? You got spunk.
Well,
I hate spunk.